DreAllDay.com.
Dre Baldwin, DreAllDay.com. Let's talk about this Kyrie Irving mini situation. It's not even really a situation, but it's something that came up in the news. I just seen it yesterday, so I'm talking about it because it's fresh on my mind. And what happened is Kyrie Irving had posted a link to a documentary on Amazon that was called, what was it called? Negroes to Jews? I believe it was called Negroes to Jews. I may be mincing that name a little bit, but the whole topic is the documentary that he posted a link to. It was like the Amazon documentary. Like, watch the video on Amazon, rent it or buy it. And by the way, why does Amazon have Amazon Prime Video, but then like half the videos on there you got to pay to watch it? What's the purpose of having Prime Video and half the videos you got to pay for? Anyway, that's a different conversation for a different day. But that documentary is based on a book that is saying that, and Kyrie, I think he said in a tweet that went with what he posted, for black people to wake up. And the whole thing is basically a black Israelite thing, which is there is a contingent of people, black people, who have argued, and this is not new, because this has been going on for a long time, who argue that black people are the real Jews. This is what Kanye West was talking about this in his recent situations. But even way back, like, I'm from Philadelphia. So where I come from, I remember riding the Broad Street subway in Philly and getting off at certain stations and be waiting for the bus. And while we're waiting for the bus, there'd be these like 3 or 4 black guys in like jeans and sunglasses and like military gear, and they would have their little stand and they have a microphone with a speaker, and they had these pictures and these signs and stuff up there, and they would be on this microphone talking the whole time to everybody who was walking by, not to anybody in particular, but just talking. And they were on this black Israelite thing, like, hey, black people are actually the real Jewish people. Here's where we come from. Here's the story that they didn't tell you, etc., etc. That was, I'm talking, this is like the 1990s. People were doing this. And I bet people were doing this even before the 1990s. And I know for a fact that people are still having these conversations and saying these things to this very day. So that's not to say, let me be clear, just because people are saying it does not necessarily mean that it's true. And just because Kyrie posted it does not necessarily mean that it's true. But it also does not mean that it's false. And the reason I'm bringing all of this up is to say, because the whole thing with Kyrie right now is that a lot of people, and even the owner of the Brooklyn Nets, or I guess he doesn't call himself the owner now, he's too woke to call himself the owner when he actually is. He calls himself the governor of the Brooklyn Nets. He put out a statement basically disavowing Kyrie Irving and trashing Kyrie Irving for saying that, for not saying anything. All Kyrie did was post a link to this documentary. Kyrie didn't actually say anything. For all we know, Kyrie might disagree with the documentary. He didn't say how he feels about it. He just posted it. He said, well, Kyrie is posting, and this is what a lot of people are saying, he's posting things that are hurtful, harmful, anti-Semitic. These are the 3 words now. Hurtful, harmful, and anti-blank, whatever group that somebody's making a statement about. This is the new start of cancellation. So what they did is basically took the whole funnel, and if you understand marketing, you have this process called the sales funnel. So it used to be, you do something, you get canceled. Do something, get canceled. Do something, get canceled. They changed the process now, and now they got an extra step that they added into the process. That kind of greases the skids for canceling somebody. Instead of just canceling them outright as soon as they do something, now what they do is they take whatever you did that they want to cancel you for, and they label it as hurtful, harmful, and anti-whatever group you're against. So like when Kanye came out and said what he said about George Floyd, they say, well, Kanye is anti-black. Or when he says stuff about whatever he was saying about Jewish people, he's anti-Semitic. Or somebody says something about the LGBT community, you're anti-trans, or you're anti-gay, or you're anti-LGBT, or whatever group has a problem with whatever you're saying or defending or espousing or representing. They call you anti that. You're somehow anti this group, and you're being hurtful, and you're being harmful with what you're saying. And that opens everybody up to the idea, oh, this person's being hurtful, harmful, and they're anti this group. Then it makes perfect sense that we should cancel them. It makes perfect sense that they should get all their endorsements removed. It makes perfect sense that they should be deplatformed. It makes perfect sense that they should get fired from their job. It makes perfect sense that all these things that happen to them should happen to them. That's the next step they added into, just to make it easier to cancel people. So they're not canceling people straight up. They open your mind to it, then they cancel you. And here's the thing. Here's the reason why I'm talking about all of even that, is that this new process, what it does is, first of all, let's be clear. I'm backing up even more. Hurtful and harmful speech, whatever people are calling hurtful and harmful, all right, this is not a real thing. All right, this is just something that people have made up. If I say something that you disagree with, you calling it hurtful and harmful doesn't make it wrong. It doesn't make me wrong. It does not make you a victim, nor does it mean that I should be canceled just because I said something that you disagree with. If I say that, so let's say I watched that documentary and I come to believe that black people are the real Jews. I have not watched the documentary, and I remember those guys back in the 90s who would be at the subway station saying that stuff. For the most part, I didn't really listen to the things that they were saying. But the reason that I brought them up is to let you know, or to remind you, because some of you know about these folks, that this is not a brand new argument. There are people who've been putting this argument out for a long time. So there is an argument out there of people who believe black people are actually the real Jews. They have a right to believe that. All they're doing is challenging the story that history has told us. History has told us one thing. They're saying, well, no, the actual story is something different. And all history is just a story. History is a story that says, excuse me, here's what happened, here's how it happened. These guys who are these black Israelites, they are saying, well, we reject that story. Here's a different story. We think this is the true story. Here's my question. And for all you logical thinkers, this is the same question you should be asking yourself. Who are we to say that these guys' story is wrong and that the widely accepted story is right? How do you know? We don't actually know. We all know that history is written by the winners. And again, history, break it down, his story. History is just a story of what took place. Just because a story's been told, and it's been told a lot, and it's been widely accepted, does not necessarily mean that it's true. Can we agree that there are some stories that, let's say when you were a kid, there were some stories you were told that when you got older and more informed and more experienced, that you learned there were some stories you have been told that were not actually accurate. And you changed your perspective on some of those stories when excuse me, you got access to new information, new insights, and new experiences. Can we all agree that this has happened? Again, this is not to necessarily say that this particular story should be changed and that these black Israelites' story is the more accurate one. I don't know. I'm not even speaking on whether it is, I'm not speaking on whether what these guys put in their documentary / book is true or not. What I am saying though, is that for Kyrie to share a link to their documentary in such a way that people are believing that he is somewhat endorsing it, and I do believe he is endorsing it in some way, doesn't make him wrong. Why is he wrong? All he's doing is offering an endorsement of someone who is offering a different perspective on a story that many people have already accepted. What's wrong with that? How is that hurtful? Who is it hurting for him to say that? This one, somebody answer this question. Who is hurt by the fact that Kyrie is saying that the real Jews are, or he's not even saying this. Kyrie is just saying, take a look at this documentary because they're saying something other than what you've already accepted. How are you hurt by that? All he's doing is saying, look, let's have a different conversation, or let me look at this different conversation on this subject. Or if how is it harmful? Who is he harming by posing this alternative idea? And how is it anti-Semitic? How is this against Jewish people? Because if you think about it, Kanye West actually said this too. He said this on Lex Fridman's podcast. He said, if black people are the real Jews, then nothing I say can be anti-Semitic because that means I'm Jewish. So how is it against Jewish people? I'm a Jewish person. I'm saying that black people are the real Jews. So how is that against Jewish people? It doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense. That would be a circular argument if you accept that black people are the real Jews. The only way it can be anti-Semitic is if you don't accept that black people are the real Jews. It means you disagree with Kanye's perspective, but that doesn't make you right and him wrong that you disagree with his perspective. You get what I'm saying? So this whole thing of all this stuff that's being said here, it's kind of like a circular argument that doesn't quite make sense when people are saying that he's being, first of all, being hurtful and harmful is not a circular argument. That's just a completely incorrect argument. It's not hurtful or harmful for anyone to have an opinion that goes against the widely accepted opinion. He has a 100% right to that. And to say that he's being anti-Semitic, this is anti-Semitic is the thing that's being thrown around now because for some reason Kanye and Kyrie happen to put out opinions there about Judaism. But the thing is, calling somebody anti-Semitic is like the new calling somebody racist. Like, calling somebody racist was the coolest thing to do for like 2 years against black people specifically. Now the new thing is call somebody anti-Semitic, even though calling anti-Semitic is not new, but it's like the popular thing that a lot of people are doing right now. That's the point that I'm making. And calling somebody anti-Semitic is basically a way of mentally canceling that person. Because if you're anti-Semitic, then that means, same way that if you call somebody racist, anything you say, anything you do, we don't have to listen to, we don't have to follow, we don't have to pay attention to, we don't need to give any credence to it simply because you're going against Jewish people, or you're going against black people, or let's say somebody, you're anti-trans, or you're anti-LGBT. You're against that person, so you're against this group. So that means anything you say, because you're such a wrong, hurtful, hateful, and harmful person, anything you say or do, we don't have to listen to. It's just we'll just cancel everything about you because of this one thing that we're labeling you with. This is cancel culture come to life. And I'm 100% against all of this. And here's the reason why all of that matters, is that if you're a critical thinker, you shouldn't have a problem with somebody having an opinion or an idea that goes against your opinions and ideas. You should actually be happy if somebody puts out an opinion or idea that's nonsense, if you think it's bullshit. Like some of you watching this right now might think that Kanye and Kyrie are anti-Semitic and hateful and harmful for saying the things that they have said. Fine. If you think that way, fine. Here's my point. If you think that what somebody, excuse me, you think that what somebody is saying is bullshit, you should be happy to allow them a platform and allow them to keep saying it as much as they possibly can. Because if it's actually bullshit, the more they talk, the more obvious it will become that what they're saying is nonsense. If it's actually bullshit. See, if you say some bullshit and I hear it and I know it's bullshit, I will challenge you on it. I'll push back against what you say. But I'm not going to try to deplatform you and stop you from saying what you're saying. I'm going to let you keep saying it. And as a matter of fact, I want you to say it as much as possible, because the more you talk, the more stupid you're going to sound. If you're actually saying bullshit. Again, if you're actually saying bullshit, the more you talk, the more it's going to be obvious that what you're saying is dumb. I want to let you talk more and more and more and more. I'm basically going to give you enough rope to hang yourself. That's the whole point when somebody's speaking some bullshit. So when you see people trying to cancel someone for saying something that they disagree with, oh, let's deplatform him, or let's take away his endorsements or cancel their business deals. Well, if what they're saying is bullshit, let them keep talking. Because the more they talk, it should be clear. So that's the part of cancel culture that I 100% disagree with. And it makes me question why people are actually doing all this canceling. Because if this is the case, that what they're saying is wrong, well, let them keep talking. Eventually, they're going to talk themselves into a grave. They're going to dig their own grave by continuing to talk. But if you're shutting them down and not letting them talk, then what that does to a critical thinker like myself, it makes me curious as to why are you trying to shut them down? Because if they're saying nonsense, let them talk. I mean, again, why you got to shut them down? Let them talk. Nonsense is obvious when it's nonsense. But if you shut it down, then that's going to make some people curious as to, okay, why are you shutting this person? Why are you shutting this person down? When you want to shut somebody down and shut them up and not let them talk, it immediately triggers me mentally and it makes me curious. Why do you want to stop them from talking? What's actually wrong with them having an opinion that you believe is wrong? If you believe they have the wrong opinion, what's wrong with them having a wrong opinion? Now it makes me wonder what they're saying that you're so bothered by. But anyway, that's how I think as a critical thinker. Y'all let me know how you all think. If you see things the same way that I'm seeing them, or maybe some of you think differently. Maybe you think that if somebody, and I'm interested to hear this, if any of you think this, if you think somebody's saying something that is quote unquote wrong, there's no such thing as a wrong opinion, by the way, but let's say you believe somebody is just wrong in what they're saying in their perspective, and you believe that they should be completely shut down and not allowed to have the wrong perspective. Why? Why do you believe that is a smart, wise, useful thing to do to help move society forward, is to just shut down and completely silence anyone who has the quote-unquote wrong perspective? If any of you believe that, I'm interested to hear why. But if any of you agree with what I'm saying, or a modified version of what I'm saying, I want to hear that as well. Leave it in the comments. Y'all know what it is. And oh yeah, my next live event, Work on Your Game Live, is taking place February 3rd and 4th here in Miami. The link is workonyourgame.live. It is down below in the description. Make sure you go grab your ticket right now. And if you go to text me at 305-384-6894 every day when I send out my daily motivation text, all of you who's in my texting community will be receiving that message free of charge every single day, guaranteed to keep you focused, sharp, and on point. Work on your game. Dre all day.